ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान पॉडकास्ट है।
Assalamu alaikum. This is News and Current Affairs channel of Radio Pakistan. I'm your host Javed Siddiq with weekly program Diplomatic Session. Listeners and viewers, in this program we discuss bilateral relations, cooperation and other important developments of mutual interest with the diplomats of Pakistan's friendly countries and regional and international blocs. Today in our show, we have with us two guests, Her Excellency Liz Rosenholm, Ambassador of Denmark to Pakistan, and Mr. Nadeem Nawaz, Advisor and Country Manager, Danish Energy Agency. This show is being broadcast simultaneously from News and Current Affairs channel and FM 101 networks of Radio Pakistan, Saturdays at 6:15 p.m. Welcome to this show, Ambassador and Mr. Nadeem Nawaz.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ambassador, Pakistan and Denmark have been friends for a long time. And how do you look at the relationship between the two countries?
Thank you, sir. You're absolutely right. We have been friends for about 70 years.
Yes.
That's a long time. What I see is ties that is growing ever stronger every day. And my most recent example of that is the support being provided by your government, by Pakistan, by the people of Pakistan, to the recent evacuation of Danish citizens and vulnerable Afghans
From Afghanistan
to Denmark. An extremely difficult operation. Denmark succeeded in evacuating around 1,100 persons. We have finalized the operations by now, and the success is due to good collaboration with a number of countries, but I'd like to highlight, as my foreign minister has highlighted, the collaboration with the Pakistani authorities and their commitment and flexibility in relation to the transit from Afghanistan of these persons. That was decisive for the success of the Danish operation. So for me, that's a very good symbol of the very strong relations between between Pakistan and Denmark.
Now that you have mentioned Afghanistan, what is your take on Afghanistan, the situation that is building up there? The international community is not extending recognition to this interim government, and the interim government of Taliban is urging the world community to recognize it, to help it out, to combat or cope with the brewing up situation in Afghanistan.
I think as any other person, we are quite concerned about the people of Afghanistan. I think that goes. I also see that from the side of many Pakistanis. You are concerned about and you care for your brothers and sisters in Afghanistan, for the people in Afghanistan, facing a very difficult situation, a very difficult humanitarian situation. The Danish government is committed to provide support, just as Pakistan, to the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. Then we also share, Pakistan and Denmark, we share a commitment to a stable and peaceful Afghanistan.
Ambassador, what is your take on the bilateral relations? Pakistan and Denmark, they are partners in trade, in energy, in development. So what is the picture now before you?
So I think we are in a very positive phase in strengthening our relations at the political level. The example given about the evacuations, the close collaboration we had, people to people. There's a lot of interest for exchange. I think that the visit of my colleague here from the Danish Energy Agency is another example. When it comes to business, I think Danish business has a lot of experience, a lot of solutions that could be relevant and useful for the journey into. I mean, I think when I listen to Pakistan and to the Pakistani business, they want to grow, of course, but many want to grow in a green way and in a sustainable way. And I think that's where Danish business, Danish companies and Danish authorities will be able to collaborate.
Ambassador, what mechanism the two countries should adopt to enhance and increase the bilateral trade between the two countries?
There are many things that we can do, each of us, but I think one very important step that is to be taken is that there will be a green agreement. We call it a green framework agreement between Denmark and Pakistan. It's almost approved on both sides, and we do hope that it will be signed early next year, and that will provide a good platform also for businesses to work together even closer.
Yeah, but the current volume of trade between Denmark and Pakistan can be expanded, enhanced. So what methods or what mechanism should we adopt to do that?
You are absolutely right. I mean, it's growing. The trade between our two countries is growing, but from a rather low level. So
yes,
we do have a shared and mutual interest in speeding up and to continue the growth. When I talk to Danish companies, what I hear is that the more predictability in terms of framework conditions, the better from a perspective of expanding business. So predictability, the possibility of long-term planning, that's one of the key things being mentioned by the Danish business community. And then of course the continued support from Pakistan and from the Pakistani government to a green development. So the greener the ambitions for the Pakistani growth is, the more the Danish community will be able to offer.
Yeah, the current government of Pakistan, Tehreek-e-Insaf, PTI, is basically trying to create conducive atmosphere for green development,
Yes,
as you have mentioned. So what are the prospects of the Danish companies in that context to invest in Pakistan?
I think they're I think they're rather good, actually. Of course, I think it's so important to have more exposure, both sides, to get more companies here to experience, to see for themselves, and then with the good experience, more will come. And that's something that my colleague from the Danish Energy Agency, Mr. Nadim, also will talk about. But I do see the prospects as rather good. So when I hear about visits to, for instance, textile companies, I see the ambitions in terms of energy efficiency. I see also opportunities for more trade between our countries, because that's an area where we do have quite good solutions and very cost effective. So both green but also cost-effective solutions.
Yeah. There's a sizable Pakistani community living in Denmark.
There is, yeah.
How do you look at the role of this community in terms of the development of Danish society and economic growth there?
Very, very positive. I think it's a very vibrant community, and it's a community that is very well integrated and contributes very, very well to the Danish society. It's also I also get a lot of quite a number of in particular younger people approaching the embassy and asking, how can we help? How can we play a positive role not only in the Danish society but also towards Pakistan?
Yeah. But given your experience of the Pakistanis living in Denmark, what can be done for more Pakistani talented young people to go to Denmark to get education there? Because our people are very anxious and desirous to go and get education, and particularly in the field of technology and science.
Yeah. And rightly so. I mean, you have a very young population that aspires for more education and for international collaboration. I think that's very positive. I do see a lot of increased activity when it comes to educational exchange in the field of IT. I think that's an area where Pakistan has a lot of talent, and where there should be a good match for even more collaboration.
The EU is basically offering scholarships to many Pakistani students, talented students. Is Denmark taking any initiative to offer scholarships to Pakistani youth in the universities who are studying in universities and other institutions?
So Denmark is an active partner in the Erasmus program, the EU program, and if not all, then a number of strong and very good universities are collaborating in the EU program, the Erasmus program, and have very good experience.
But no independent scholarships offered by the Danish government to Pakistani students?
Our collaboration when it comes to education at the moment, now we will see also with this new green agreement where that will take us. At the moment it's primarily through the Erasmus program.
Right. This green initiative we'll talk about more in details. So would you please explain the parameters of this green initiative of cooperation between Pakistan and Denmark?
I'd be happy to. For me it's quite simple. Pakistan has high green ambitions. Pakistan is a large country. It's the 5th most populous country in the world. It's a country that aspires not only for a greener development, but also for a development where there's better access to energy for all in Pakistan. Just to give one example, Denmark is a country that has achieved a lot when it comes to green development. So I think today 50% on an average of our energy supply is provided through renewable sources, and with a security in supply of 99.9%. How did we do that? Because it's doable. It's not that many years ago where we were completely dependent on imported fossil fuels. So I think sharing the experience about that journey, we have a mutual interest in doing that.
Yes, Pakistan is desperately looking towards that option, you know, to be independent and to be self-sufficient in the generation of energy.
Exactly, and Denmark and the Danish government is very ambitious when it comes to supporting green transition, not only in Denmark. We just, I think we are 0.1 of the global emissions. That's not a lot.
Yes.
But so, and climate change, that's a global challenge. So the more that we can inspire and catalyze green journeys in other countries, and in particular in a country such as Pakistan, the better. So I think that's the essence of the green agreement between our two countries. So much closer bilateral collaboration. There's a wish from people to people, government to government, business to business, and one area where there's a lot of interest from whether it's from government or business, that's the green transition. And if Denmark can share some of our experience and perhaps support Pakistan
yes,
in that development, and I think that's the key.
Exactly, and the Prime Minister of Pakistan has taken an initiative towards that goal, and the 1 billion tree project and initiative has been globally acclaimed. So how do you look at this initiative?
I think it's excellent. I mean, I think when it comes to green transition, a lot of different initiatives are needed, and planting tree, that's one of many things that we can be doing. I also think it's excellent because it creates awareness. So I have had I've been lucky, I've been able to travel in your beautiful country and also seen the diversity of Pakistan. And whether I go to Gwadar or to Kablu or to Skardu or Hunza or Sindh or Faisalabad, and when I talk to people, almost all people they talked to me about the 1 billion tree.
Yes.
I have planted a number of trees. I've engaged my staff at the embassy also in planting trees. And the planting tree itself, that's important. But it's also important because it creates a conversation. Because to address climate changes, of course, we need technology. But perhaps first and foremost, we need awareness. So we need to have a conversation that engages young people, older people, men, women, business, government, civil society, academia. And I think that's one of the other advantages of the 1 billion tree, the tsunami project that I really like. It creates a very, very good platform for a very important conversation. And wherever I go, that's something that Pakistanis are talking about.
Ambassador, you have been in Pakistan and you have visited so many important cities of this country, and you are familiar with our culture, I hope. Given this environment, is Pakistan ready for transition from the current energy scenario to a greener energy scenario?
My opinion,
yes,
being very respectful, I don't think Pakistan has another choice. If Pakistan is to deliver in a cost-effective way and as fast as possible, reliable electricity to its citizens, a sustainable future for the children of Pakistan, there's an urgent need for a green transition. It's also about what type of jobs, what do we invest in? I mean, we also, to some extent, get the future that we invest in. So, what are the jobs that we would like, that you would like the young people
to create?
So should they be working in the fossil fuel industry, or should they be working repairing windmills?
Yes.
So I think Pakistan is very prepared. That's also if you read the policies, if you listen to the speeches, if you talk to the young people. I think Pakistan is ready.
Yes, but there comes the role of Denmark, training our people for this transition to the renewable energy resources.
And that's why I think a country as Denmark, a rich country, has a responsibility to share our experience, to share our expertise. So the colleagues that are visiting for the second time Pakistan this week, and my colleague Nadim here, are the colleagues working within the Danish administration. That's the colleagues responsible for administering the Danish green transition. So having that sort of conversation between peers, I think that I hope will be able to contribute also to the green transition of Pakistan.
Yeah. What else would you like to say about Pakistan's transition from the current stage of development to a more enhanced and advanced stage of development?
I think that there's so many. I mean, one can make choices, right? So again, it's the curriculum at the university. Does it teach you about a green future or something else? The investments in terms of how to build out your energy network, what choices are made, the business that are growing, in which field, what kind of demands do we put on the business? So I think there's so many things that we all can do when it comes to doing our bit to a green transition.
Yeah. You have talked about the educational institutions and other technical institutions which are preparing for this movement forward for the greener energy areas.
Yeah.
So you think that Pakistan is prepared, or you it needs to be helped out by countries like Denmark?
I think it's a collaboration, and it's a global collaboration. I think that a country as Denmark can share experience. A country as Denmark can also learn by visiting Pakistan. We can learn a lot. So I think it's not a one-way street, and it's not between two countries only. It's a global,
a two-way traffic.
It's a two-way traffic, and it's a global collaboration, because when you get into it, it's so complex. It's about knowledge. It's about technology. It's about how do markets work. It's about financing. But I do think that the awareness raising and to providing the examples about, I mean, yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday, I participated in the opening of a workshop on renewable energy, and all the different Pakistani energy authorities were present, and a young man, he asked, is it possible? And I think that what we would know as Denmark is that yes, it's much more, it's possible, and it's perhaps even easier than some people would think, and that's the story that is so important that we share.
Thank you, Ambassador, for being with us in this show and sharing your views on greener energy and other aspects and the collaboration between Pakistan and Denmark in the march towards the development. I know that you have some other urgent business to attend. Thank you very much, and we take a break here, and then we will continue our discussion with your colleague, Mr. Nadeem Nawaz, Advisor and Country Manager, Danish Energy Agency. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much.
ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान पॉडकास्ट है.
This is the second part of our program Diplomatic Session. In the first part, the Ambassador of Denmark, Her Excellency Liz Rosenholm, was here, and she talked about Pakistan's cooperation with Denmark in the field of energy and development and other issues she talked about. In the second part, we have with us Mr. Nadeem Nawaz, Advisor and Country Manager, Danish Energy Agency. We'll talk to him about Pakistan's cooperation and collaboration in the field of energy. Pakistan direly needs energy, and in order to achieve the growth in the economic field. Nadeem Nawaz Sahab, thank you so much for joining us in this program.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So what are you up to? I mean, you are in Pakistan, and who are you talking to, and what are you talking about?
Well, we have a government-to-government collaboration between Denmark and Pakistan in the energy field. So we are engaging with the Ministry of Energy in Pakistan, but also the Pakistani energy authorities who are actually implementing the very ambitious renewable energy policy you have for the country, which Prime Minister Imran Khan launched recently. You are aiming for 30% renewable energy in 2030, and you want 60% green energy, including hydro, in 2030. So that's a very, very ambitious policy and a goal, I would say. So we are here to assist the Pakistani energy authorities actually to implement the policy and providing the technical advice, because Denmark is a country which has a long tradition of green energy transition. I think Denmark is well known for our wind energy, for instance. Sometimes we have more than 100% wind in our electricity system, so we export to our neighboring countries. And I think we have right now a total of 39% of renewable energy coming from solar, wind, etc.
You have seen the picture here. You have seen and you have spoken to our experts and the people who are heading the relevant agencies and departments. What is your view? Can we have a smooth transition from this stage to a more greener energy and renewable energy?
I'm not sure it will be smooth because there are a lot of challenges and there are a lot of sort of technical issues which have to be addressed. Right now we are assisting the Pakistani energy authorities in primarily 3 fields. Let me just mention them. One is energy planning. I mean, you have to have a long-term energy planning and you have to have stable regulatory frameworks to actually support that planning. The second one is integration of renewables in the grid. I mean, there are many technical issues and barriers which you have to address. And the third one is energy efficiency. You have to improve the energy efficiency, especially your industrial sector. There's a large potential for energy efficiency. And these are the issues we are trying to address with the Pakistani energy authorities. And we have a lot of knowledge and competency in Denmark, and which we are providing to the Pakistani energy authorities to assist them in this.
And when it comes to renewable energy resources, do you think that Pakistan has a right mix of energy? I mean, hydropower and then the coal power, and then the power that we are generating through crude oil and other resources?
I think in that respect, I think Pakistan is really a blessed country because you have so many natural resources. I mean, Pakistan has a lot of potential for hydro, for instance. You already have, I think, around 15% of your energy coming from hydro. You can have a lot more. And then in terms of wind and solar, you have so many resources and potential. I mean, just look at the weather in Pakistan. I mean, you have a lot of sun. You have a lot of wind potential, for instance, in the Sindh province. You have a lot of wind corridors there. So from a natural resource perspective, you have a lot of potential. But I think from a sort of a technical competency perspective, I think you need some help from some of the countries who have been doing this for many decades.
You need to train people.
We need to build the capacity of the Pakistani energy authorities, and this includes training, this includes workshops, this includes sort of transfer of technological know-how, knowledge, experience.
Yes.
And this requires, I think, a long-term collaboration between countries in order to do that. So we are assisting the authorities in achieving the ambitious targets.
So this collaboration between Denmark and Pakistan for transition from current sources of energy to renewable energy resources, do you think that Pakistan has the intention and the will to do it?
I definitely think you have the intention and you also have the will, and actually your Prime Minister has made the announcement that you want to go green 60% by 2030. And I think the next step is implementation, and now you have to show that you will actually do it. And in this aspect, I think I will just mention 2 things which are really important. One thing is long-term political framework. That is important. You have to have stability. You have to have a long-term energy planning until 2030, but even beyond to 2050. And then you need investments. You need investment in green energy rather than investing in fossil fuels and old technologies. So you need to create a very good climate for renewable energy investments in Pakistan. And I think at the end of the day, that is a political sort of assignment, and the politicians have to deliver on that. If you do, I think it's doable, it's possible.
So currently, what proportion of energy we are getting from renewable resources, from wind energy and solar energy, and what are the prospects of enhancing this portion of energy from renewable resources?
So right now, according to the Pakistani energy authorities, the renewable energy non-hydro is around 4-5%. So that's solar and that's wind. And then you have around 15%, I think, coming from hydropower.
Hydropower, yes.
So that's green energy, which is 20%. And you have to increase that to 60%. So we're still in 9 years. And that's why I'm saying it's
a challenge.
It's very ambitious, I would say, but it's possible. But the politicians would have to focus on creating the necessary investment climate for renewables, energy efficiency, but also delivering on the long-term sort of policy frameworks. So they have to deliver on that if you want to sort of get this potential.
In the past too, some governments took initiative to switch to the renewable energy resources, wind power and solar energy and all that kind of resources. How do you look at those attempts? Was there any success achieved?
I think that the attempts are good, but again, I mean, you need capacity development of authorities, but also businesses, investors, and you need to raise the awareness of the population. I mean, a very big driver right now, I think everybody knows, is climate change, and the situation is right now.
Right.
I mean, especially I think Pakistan is facing and feeling the effects of climate change. I mean, due to droughts, due to sort of heavy rains, floodings, etc. So yeah,
Pakistan is one of those 10 countries which are worst affected by the climatic change.
Yeah. But Pakistan didn't create the problem, I would say. I mean, I think that the problem, the greenhouse gas problem, was created by some other countries, by the rich countries. Yes. But you are facing the effects of that. Yeah. So I think that you need a lot of help, I think, and assistance, both technical assistance from countries like Denmark, but also you need investments and you need financing of renewable energy and energy efficiency.
So now that Denmark is here to help out Pakistan in transition from this traditional resources of energy to renewable resources. So you think that Denmark will be able to provide a concrete, substantial assistance to Pakistan?
I think from a technical perspective, and I'm from Danish Energy Agency, yes. So we deliver technical advice, and I think we have the necessary competencies, the technical skills, and also the knowledge of how to do it from a technical and a regulatory framework perspective. I mean, I think Danish Energy Agency right now is collaborating with 22 countries on a government-to-government level, including Pakistan. So we are in great demand, you would say, because we have been doing it in Denmark for many years. Just to mention an example, I mean, some days we have more than 100% wind in our electricity system, which we are exporting to neighboring countries. How is that possible? And how could we assist other countries in increasing the renewables in the grid? I mean, we are going for 70% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2030
in Denmark.
Yes. And we are going climate neutral in 2050. And that's creating a lot of innovation also in Denmark. So why should we not be able to assist other countries in achieving their renewable energy targets and visions?
You have mentioned that we have the wind corridors in Sindh and some parts of Pakistan. Can Pakistan get the wind energy from these corridors, or Pakistan has to do something more to discover more corridors?
I think the potential is there and the corridors are there. I think they have been identified by the Pakistani energy authorities. I think the issue is with the grid. I mean, you need a lot of investment in the grid in order to bring the renewables to the grid. So I think you have an issue there which you have to solve, both from a regulatory point of view, from a technical point of view, but also from an investment point of view. So if you solve that, then I think the potential is there. I mean, it's the...
So how much, what proportion of energy can we achieve, can we get from this wind corridors if proper investment comes in?
I think the potential is huge, actually, and it's more than I think non-hydro renewable energy. I think the target is 30% in 2030, and right now you have 4 or 5%. You could go beyond 30, I think, because the potential is there. But the technical issues make it difficult right now. So if you solve them,
investment too is
investment. You need investment in renewables in order to do it. But the natural potential is there. I mean, Pakistan again is very blessed with natural resources. There's a lot of wind energy which can be harvested.
How about the solar energy? That is an important source, and so many Western countries, including Germany and other, they are getting their energy from this solar source.
I would say, I mean, for solar energy, the potential is even bigger. and also looking at it from a least cost perspective, solar energy has become so cheap on a global international level. So solar is much cheaper compared to fossil fuels now. I mean, if you compare with the coal or natural gas, I mean, solar is actually cheaper. So there's much more potential for solar compared to wind, for instance. So you have a lot of potential, I would say.
So switching from the current system to these systems, the solar and the wind energy, you think there's a problem of mindset or something else?
I think the political vision is there. Actually, it's reflected in your policies. I think there may be. I think even the mindset is there, and at least, I mean, we've been having workshops and meeting with the Pakistani energy authorities. I think they understand the issues. They have the technical skills, but we need awareness also from consumers and for businesses, and then we need to create an environment where everybody sort of pushes for green energy. So you have to have a political and a public pressure as well.
So this Danish energy agency, will it be able to invest also in getting energy from the solar and the wind resources?
So Danish Energy is a government institution, so we don't make investments, okay. But we do provide technical advice, primarily to the Pakistani energy authorities. So we improve the regulatory frameworks. We try to give ideas of how to make a new electricity market which would accommodate renewables coming in. So it is primarily technical advice. But I think there are a lot of financing institutions, including Danish ones, who would have an interest in this market.
So some Danish investors in the energy sector can come if conducive, suitable conditions are created in Pakistan.
I think this is a global market. I mean, Danish or international investors, I think they would be ready. But again, I think long-term stable political frameworks and an attractive investment climate, I think that's necessary in order to attract.
But in Pakistan, you're talking about a stable framework and political will. Yeah. The Pakistani political parties are on one page as far as the energy is concerned, and they need to, they want this system to go and be replaced by another one and cheaper energy, and you know, the energy crisis that we are caught in, Pakistan wants to get rid of it, and so the political parties are almost have a consensus.
And that's a very good thing, because this is also the tradition from Denmark. For the last 45 years, almost all political parties have made broad political agreements to promote renewable energy and energy efficiency, and that's very important. So I would congratulate the Pakistani politicians that they are agreeing on this.
Yes. So what else would you like to add to what you have already said for Pakistanis to go to the greener energy side?
Maybe just a personal reflection. I mean, as you can see, I'm a Pakistani origin. I was born and raised in Denmark. I got my degree in engineering. Have been working on energy and climate change issues for the last 25 years or so. So it's really an honor for me also to be able to come to Pakistan and share the knowledge of myself, but also the Danish Energy Agency, in order to help Pakistan in achieving its very ambitious renewable energy goals and targets. So I'm very happy to be here.
Okay. So how long do you intend to be here, and have you already completed your discussions, technical and others, or it is still to be done?
Yeah, so this was the second mission out of 4. So we still have 2 more technical missions in this phase of the project. And then we, of course, hope for a long-term collaboration with Pakistan. As the ambassador, Liz Rosenholm, mentioned, Denmark and Pakistan are negotiating a green green growth strategy and collaboration. And I think energy sector is very important to have included in this.
The last question is about the hydropower, which is another source of energy, and Pakistan is blessed with a lot of potential to create energy and to get energy from hydropower. Pakistan is also working on building some dams. How do you look at that?
I mean, from an energy system perspective, for us, hydropower is just like energy storage. So it's a big battery. And it makes it easier for the renewables to come in because, you know, energy from renewables is fluctuating from wind and solar. So you can use the hydro actually as a sort of storage. So from energy system perspective, it's perfect.
But taking the view from the climatic change perspective, what are the prospects for going for a big hydropower source of energy like dams, you know? Is it reliable or?
It's very reliable, I would say, and you have a long tradition of hydropower in Pakistan. As I mentioned, I think you have already 15% of your energy. Hydropower plays quite well with the thermal power plants and renewables because you can ramp up and down your thermal power plants, making room for the renewables, and then you have your hydropower as a storage. So from energy system perspective, it's quite good.
Thank you, Nadeem Nawaz Saab, for being with us in this show.
You're welcome.
Listeners and viewers, this is all with today's show in Diplomatic Session. Next week, we will have with us a new personality. The producer of today's program was Rana Ghulam Mustafa, video engineer Farhan Ali, and executive producer Abdul Rauf Khan. This show is also available on Radio Pakistan's official website, www.radio.gov.pk, social media platforms, and Radio Pakistan podcast at podcast.radio.gov.pk. I'm your host Javed Siddiq, signing off from today's Diplomatic Session from News and Current Affairs channel of Radio Pakistan Islamabad. Thank you very much.
ये रेडियो पाकिस्तान पॉडकास्ट है।